What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Last night during the live, I received a text. Somebody sent me the news, whatever you want to call it. They sent me a clip of this matter that supposedly has to do with Swifty Blue, right? And I looked at it during the live for a second, and okay, boom. And I moved on. And I had made up my mind immediately. I'm not touching this. And then this morning I see there's already a bunch of people putting stuff out there, right? And I said, okay, I'm going to do something on Swifty Blue, but I'm going to do it my way, like I always do, right? Hopefully people understand what I'm saying in this video. So, let me give you guys a couple scenarios. True life, real stuff behind those walls, okay? I had left the shoe, Pelican Bay shoe, in 1997. I returned in 1998. I went down to the CTC. That's the clinic, right? Not inside the shoe. It's away from the shoe. That's where people go when they need like x-rays. I needed an x-ray. People go for x-rays, physical therapy, and other things like that, right? They would usually take us, and they had a golf cart. You know, they had a 2-seater. Then they had the one that had like a 4-seater or 6-seater, whatever it was, and they take us down there. You do what you do. They put you in little single man holding cells, right? There'll be people in a bunch of different ones. People from the main line, people from the shoe. You can see each other, you know. You can talk. You have to talk guardedly, of course, because the cops can hear everything. They're in the middle. But usually, towards the end of the day, the cops would bring us out and chain us up together. Because we're already, in waist chains and shackles. And they would put a chain on us. And there'd be like 7, 8 dudes, 6 dudes, whatever, on a chain. There might be 2 chains, 12 dudes, and they're going to escort us. And we're going to walk from CTC back to the shoe. Okay? And so when I returned to the shoe in 1998, they pulled me out and they were going to walk us on a chain. The dude standing directly next to me had been my neighbor when I left the shoe in 97, right? So we saw each other and we greeted each other. Hey, what's up, Holmes? How you doing? All right. And he's like, no, and I asked him, hey, how's so-and-so? Who was his cellie? And he looks at me and goes, he's in 12 block. For those that know, that have been in the shoe, you know what that means. For those of you that haven't, it means that his cellie locked it up. 12 block, nobody went to 12 block unless they went out, right? And so when he said he went to 12 block, I said, oh, is that right? What happened? And he goes, I don't know, but he goes, the worst part is that he's making up stories. He's putting cases on people that don't exist. It wasn't them. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. But how you been? That's how it goes in there. But remember that story, okay? But that was the extent of it. He let me know. I asked the question, and then we moved on. You could be on the yard. We could be on the yard, right? And we come out for a yard. You could be in a position, have some authority on the yard, and one of your bloqueros comes up to you. First yard. This happened to me on several occasions. I'd be out there. I was yard crew. One of the bloqueros would come up and he'd let me know, hey, so-and-so in my building locked it up last night. My question would be, did he owe anybody any feria? Nah, not that I know. All right, Holmes. Okay, gracias, homie. He goes back to the building. I go back to doing whatever I'm doing. Okay. In the last situation, I remember an older homie telling me one time, he said, you know the difference between a carnal, and I don't ever use that term, but I'm going to use it here because I feel it's important because this is a serious topic. And he says, you know the difference between a carnal and everybody else? I said, what? He said, you could have a ball of shit in a place it's not supposed to be. And a homie will go and pick it up. And this is figuratively, right? And he says, a homie will pick it up and look at it and put it in each hand, like back and forth, flipping it over, trying to figure it out. And another homie walks up and he says, hey, what is that? And he says, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. It's weird, Holmes. It's not supposed to be here. What is this thing? And now the homie that walked up said, I don't know. Let me see it. And he grabs it. He's looking at it. He's like, this is a trip. Hey, what is this? Another homie could walk up. What are you looking at? Why, we don't know, fool. What is this shit, eh? What is this? I don't know. Let me see. And then a carnal walk up. And he says, hey, what are you doing? And they go, we're trying to figure out what this is. And he says, well, what is it? And they go to toss it to him, and he takes a step back. And he lets it hit the ground. Because he recognized it for what he was. It's a fucking ball of shit. He's not going to waste his time getting shit all over his hands like everybody else. Now, I gave you guys these examples for a reason. The media is reporting something that was filed by investigators, right? What I saw was that an informant told the cops that something was happening. Was it really happening? I don't know. But you see how many people already this morning have shit all over their hands? They're trying to figure it out. Passing it all amongst each other, trying to figure it out. Men that are really in that life, if they're not a part of that thing, whatever's true or not true about this situation with Swifty Blue, whoever's not involved, they don't even speak about it. The full extent of the conversation will be this. Hey, Holmes, you see that shit that's on the news? Yeah, that shit's crazy. I know, huh? And then, hey, you want to hook something up for lunch today? That's the extent of the conversation. But out here, people who are not a part of that lifestyle, who never could make that cut, will talk about it for months on end. We'll analyze it for months on end. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Whoever is charged, whatever goes on, Swifty Blue is not going to cooperate. And it'll die down sooner or later. Whatever it is. But I know from my personal experience, it's not for me to guess what's going on there. Just because an informant says something is happening, like the first example I gave you, doesn't mean that's what's really happening. Just because the cops say something is something, it doesn't mean that's what it really is. I get it, Swifty Blue has been quiet for a long time. He stopped all the trolling antics and instead was just putting out good music. And nobody talked about the good music. They only talked about the trolling. And that's the strange thing about social media. As soon as you act a fool, start cussing people out, calling people out, disrespecting people, the views go up. But when you're doing something good, you're minding your own business, people, they don't want to pay attention to that. But I wanted to give you those examples and that analogy. And I want you to just pay attention to social media. I want you to pay attention to what's going on YouTube. Who's got shit all over their hands. Just this morning. Story came out last night. Yesterday. Check out the comment sections. All these dudes, again, who are never part of it, who have a whole lot to say. And I promise you, if they were behind those walls, around those people, they would know. Shut the fuck up. It's none of your business. But I get it. I'm not knocking these content creators. I just want to remind people that we all have a responsibility. And you know, hey, to each their own, whatever you do with your platform, whatever you want to do. But when stuff is really serious, it's really, really smart to mind your own business. That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.